Hello, it is fishbulbgeek and I am back with Mark Shepherd and we are going to spend the day talking to people. We've got an introductory conversation with Liara, some follow-up conversations with everybody else. There wasn't a real interesting photo shot available, so I didn't bother with the photo mode this time. Certainly not from where we were, maybe somewhere else on the ship it could have been interesting. Let's start with Navigator Presley. We haven't talked to him in a while.
If anyone has to take over for Captain Anderson, I'm glad it's you. I'm not sure about having non-humans on our ship, though.
We're all on the same team here, Presley.
With all due respect, sir, that's what they said about Nihilus. Look how that turned out.
Nihilus wasn't exactly anybody's fault, in fairness. Saren, the Rogue Spectre, shot Nihilus in the back. Nihilus was with us 100% until that point, so it's a bit of a weird thing to say, Presley.
Speak freely, Presley. I want to know if you have a problem with non-humans.
It's not that, Commander. Humanity has always handled its own problems. Saren attacked one of our colonies. We should be the ones to stop him. We don't need their help.
Some people think asking for help is a sign of weakness. That's just being stupid and stubborn. No matter how strong you are, allies can make you stronger.
I guess so. Maybe I'm just stuck in the old ways of thinking. But don't worry, Commander. This won't be a problem.
How did you end up assigned to the Normandy?
I signed up with the Alliance as a navigator right out of school, following in my grandfather's footsteps, I guess. My first posting was on the Agincourt. We were at Elysium during the Skillian Blitz. A massive fleet of alien raiders hit the colony, trying to wipe it out. They had the numbers, but their ships were no match for an Alliance frigate. It was a slaughter. We couldn't even keep track of how many ships they lost.
The Skillian Blitz is the Shepherd, the hero-based background, actually, where you're actually on the ground in Elysium, and you defend the people pretty much by yourself from the people that got down onto the planet. It's interesting seeing the other observation from Presley about how they had control of the skies in some fashion or another.
How'd you end up on the Normandy?
I got my officer's commission after Elysium. Must have made an impression on the right people. Captain asked for me when he was picking his crew.
Well, that's about it. That's all he's got to say right now, anyway.
Carry on, Presley.
Yes, sir.
Oh, defense systems. Yeah, I'll take some free XP. Oh my god. Have I actually talked to Joker yet? I guess we shall. I mean, as much as the fans love Joker, I don't find him that interesting.
I prefer gold to silver, for my medal. I figured you'd recommend me for one since I pulled your boots out of the fire.
If we present you with a medal, you'll end up sitting on stage listening to politicians make speeches for a couple of hours. Fun.
That's a good point. They'd probably make me shave, too. I spent the last 7 weeks working on this baby. No medal's worth that. So, Commander, why don't you tell me why you're really here?
How's the Normandy performing? Is she everything they said she'd be?
She's the best ship in the fleet, if you've got a pilot who knows how to handle her. Balance isn't what you'd expect. Takes a while to get used to that oversized drive core we got stuffed in the back, and her power can sneak up on you if you're not careful. The Normandy's probably too much ship for your average Alliance pilot, Commander. Lucky for you, I'm anything but average.
Yeah, I guess we do have to have this conversation.
I like to know my crew. Mind if I ask you a few questions?
I can see where this is going. You did a background check on me, didn't you? Well, I'll tell you the same thing I told the captain. You want me as your pilot. I'm not good. I'm not even great. I am the best damn helmsman in the Alliance fleet. Top of my class in flight school, I earned that. All those commendations in my file, I earned every single one. Those weren't given to me as charity for my disease.
I'm sorry, Joker. I didn't even know you were sick.
You mean you didn't know? Oh, crap. Okay, I've got Vrolik syndrome, brittle bone disease. The bones in my legs never develop properly. They're basically hollow, too much force and they'll shatter. Even with crutches and my leg braces, it's hard to get around. One wrong step and crack! It's very dramatic. But I've learned to manage my condition, Commander. Put the Normandy in my hands and I'll make her dance for you. Just don't ask me to get up and dance unless, you like the sound of snapping shin bones.
I mean, this whole thing about him having Vrolik syndrome, I mean, it's cool. It's interesting. and the way he, Joker presents himself, he's handling it very well. I don't know.
I need to know more about this
Not sure I
Rolex
like
syndrome if
Joker
I'm
as a
putting my ship
character
in your
that
hands.
much.
Yeah, of course you do. It's an extremely rare condition. Nobody knows exactly what causes it. Genetic, maybe. It's treatable, but there's no cure. They classify my case as moderate to severe. I was born with over a dozen fractures. Hip, thighs, ankles. My bones were already breaking in the womb. 100 years ago, I wouldn't have survived past my first year. Lucky for me, modern medical science has turned me into a productive member of society.
You're not gonna break a bone trying to fly the ship, are you?
I don't fly with my feet, Commander, so I'm fine as long as I'm in this chair. I gotta be real careful when I get up to take a piss, though. I can do my job as well as anyone on the ship. Better, actually. So don't worry about it.
I'm not super worried about it.
I'm not trying to make you uncomfortable. Let's talk about something else.
Whatever you want, Commander.
Okay, well, I mean, we'll learn about how he got his nickname. It is all good background information into Joker.
Why does everyone call you Joker?
It's a lot shorter than saying Alliance Flight Lieutenant Jeff Moreau. Plus, I love to make little children laugh.
You're dodging the question.
Look, I didn't pick the name. One of the instructors in flight school used to bug me about never smiling. She started calling me Joker, and it stuck.
Why didn't you ever smile?
Hey, I worked my ass off in flight school, Commander. The world's not gonna hand you anything if you go around grinning like an idiot. By the end of the year, I was the best pilot in the academy, even better than the instructors, and everybody knew it. They'd all got their asses kicked by the sickly kid with the creaky little legs. One guess who was smiling at graduation?
Yeah, that's fair. No, I don't need to know any more, to be honest, but thanks for the talk, Joker.
I have to go.
Alright, see ya.
I mean, I'm still on the fence, and you do come out with the odd good one-liner. Yeah. Yeah, he comes out with the odd funny quip. And I guess him and, in 2, he's got that nice relationship with ED and everything, although in 3 it gets real weird. Like, real weird. But, I don't know. There's just something about him. I'm kind of on the fence.
Anything you need, Commander?
Just trying to get a sense of where the crew's at. Thoughts?
Is this an official evaluation, Commander? Or off the record?
Alenko, when it's just you and me, you can consider it off the record.
That's a generous attitude. Okay. I think there's something wrong with all this. This Saren is looking for records on some kind of galactic extinction, but we can't get backup from the Council? Sorry, Commander. There's writing on the wall here, but someone isn't reading it.
The Council doesn't want to believe anything's wrong. I'd call it human nature, but...
I hear you. It just seems like a group that's been around as long as the Council should see this coming. Sorry if I got too informal. Protocol wasn't a big focus back in Bot.
And this whole thing is like, there's some real cognitive dissonance, like, Shepard is also biotic. Shepard should... Like, how did Shepard train his powers? He's arguably... Is he the same age? I mean, I don't know. He's like Shepard is, I think, canonically 29 or something. I don't actually know how old Caden's supposed to be. I might look that up in a second if I can.
Tell me about it.
Biotic acclimation and temperance didn't last past the airlock. To the kids they hauled in, it was brain camp. Sorry, hauled in is unkind. We were encouraged to commit to an evaluation of our abilities so an understanding of biotics could be compiled. There are worse results of accidental exposure to element 0 in the womb. Beats the brain tumors some kids grew up with.
Is there some question about how you were exposed?
My mother was downwind of a transport crash. It was before there were human biotics, a little after the discovery of the Martian ruins. It only gets iffy around 63 when kinetics was running out of first-gen subjects. Until then, they'd relied on accidentals. A bunch of guys in suits show up at your door after school, and next thing you know, you're out on Jump Zero.
Jump Zero is Gagarin Station, right? What's it like?
Yeah, that's the official name. Biggest and farthest facility we had for decades. Right on the termination shock, the outer edge of the solar system. It's where they did all the Goose Chase FTL research before we caught on to using mass effect fields. It was a sterile research platform when I was there.
There were other kids in the same boat, right? At least you weren't alone out there.
That's true. We did have a little circle that'd get together every night before lights out. We didn't have much to do, though. It was a research platform then, and Kinetics kept Jump Zero off the extranet to prevent leaks.
Then you must have had plenty of time to get to know each other.
Yeah, we'd sit around and bull every night after dinner, play cards or network games. There was this girl named Rana, who had a little circle grow up around her. She was from Turkey. Her family was very rich. But she was smart and charming as hell. Beautiful, but not stuck up about it. I think you'd have liked her.
Sounds like she was special to you.
She was. Maybe she felt the same. But things never felt together. Training, you know.
You know of any intentional exposures for certain?
No one knows. Doesn't mean they didn't happen. As big as the exposures were, it was hard to track down accidentals. It was different then. No one knew the potential, so there wasn't a lot of regulation. Anything Kinetics did was gold. I'm not saying they intentionally detonated drives over our outposts, but in retrospect, they were damn quick on the scene.
Jump Zero's a long way from home.
I already asked
What was
about
it
that.
like?
The grand gateway to humanity looks a lot better in the vids. But that's my own.
Oh no, wait,
package,
I guess that is a
no
separate note.
bearing on this.
Alright, cool. Well, I mean, that is actually all very interesting on like the symbiotics and amongst humans and stuff.
Alenko, there's no regulation that says you can't be friends with your commander.
I appreciate that, Commander. I just don't want you to think that I'm a whiner. Besides, I've got my past squared away.
Cheap little level up. So yeah, like Caden, he's really cool. He's like he's a well-trained biotic. He's a leader of men. He's got his own past squared away, like he says. It's not the first word that was going to come into my I was going to say, but we'll go with past because it's more polite. He's a good, well-balanced kind of guy. I thought Caden was a little boring the first time I played, but he's got a dry sense of humor that comes out every now and again. He's very useful. He's kind of a kick-ass, hard-ass, like when it comes down to it.
Anything you need, Commander?
What's your opinion on the last mission?
Dr. Tassoni. Seems like a sweet girl. Easy on the eyes. I mean, if you like the bookish sort.
Any intentions there, Lieutenant?
No, Commander. Just art appreciation.
Yeah, a little bit weird. Is that literally all you have to say about Tassoni?
What's your opinion on the last mission?
Dr. Tassoni. Seems like a sweet girl.
Yeah, that's literally all you have to say.
I mean, if you like the bookish sort.
Any intentions there, Lieutenant?
No, Commander. Just art appreciation.
Might have liked more tactical
We'll
appraisal
talk
there.
another
Yeah,
time,
some of the dialogue is a bit
Commander?
weird. I mean, yeah, it's a weird observation to make. No. I've already got one. Actually, I haven't opened this. Too late now, I suppose. Alright, speaking of, Dr. Chakwas has nothing new to say. Let's manager. We did use some in the last mission. Okay, I'm going to try real hard not to accidentally start a romance with Liara, because I don't want to romance Liara in this game. I want to romance other people. I haven't decided who they all are. Clearly it's not going to be Ashley in this game. But I guess I'm not going to be romancing anyone in this game, actually, because I'm not going to romance Ashley, I'm not going to romance Liara, and you can't romance Caden, and they're the only 3 romance options. So, you're a little bit limited for choice.
Commander, are you coming to check up on me?
You look much better. How are you feeling?
Dr. Chakwas assures me I am going to be fine. I was impressed with her knowledge of Asari physiology.
You're in good hands. Dr. Chakwas knows what she's doing.
I never properly thanked you for saving me from the Geth, Commander. If you hadn't shown up,
I'm just glad we got there in time.
so am I.
Lighting sucks in this room.
I know you took a chance bringing me aboard this ship. I have seen the way your crew looks at me. They do not trust me.
I think you're being
But I am
paranoid,
not
to
like
be honest.
Benezia. I will do whatever I
Either
can
that
to
or
help you
one
stop
person
Saren.
in specific
I
is glaring
promise.
at you. And I know which person that would have been.
Don't worry, Liara.
Oh no,
I
wait,
trust
two
you.
people would have been
I
glaring
know
at
you
you.
won't let me down.
It means a lot to hear you say that, Commander. Thank you.
Do you know why Benezia joined up with Saren?
I don't understand it. She was always outspoken about the need for the Asari to become more involved in shaping galactic events. Maybe she thought allying herself with Saren would somehow be for the greater good in the long run. At least I hope so.
Maybe she's just evil as a little much.
This hurts you, doesn't it?
None of this makes any sense to me. I have not spoken to Benezia in many years, but I know her, and this was not like her. Something changed.
Yes, it did. We don't find out until much later.
I'd like to know more about the Asari.
We were the first species to discover the Citadel. We were instrumental in forming the Council, and we always strive to be the voice of peaceful cooperation in galactic disputes. My people believe we are all part of a single galactic community. Each species contributes something to the greater whole. Although we seek to understand other species, it seems few of them seek to understand us. The galaxy is filled with rumors and misinformation about my people.
Like what?
Most of the inaccuracies are centered around our mating rituals. My species is monogendered. Male and female have no real meaning for us. We still require a partner to reproduce. This second parent, however, may be of any species and any gender.
Why would you say that's disgusting? It's really not.
I don't understand. Your species can mate with anyone?
Mating is not quite the proper term, not as you understand it. Physical contact may or may not be involved, but it is not an essential element of the union. The true connection is mental. Our physiology allows us to meld with other beings. We can touch the very depths of their minds. We explore the genetic memory of their species. We share the most basic elements of their individual and racial identities. We then pass these traits on to our daughters. It is how we learn to grow as a species and how we develop a greater
It's also
understanding of other
weird
races.
that they use the word daughter. Now, maybe they've just gotten used to using the word daughter, since we see other species that don't reproduce the same way they do, but it's a bit weird that they use the word. Like, wouldn't you use your own natural word for your offspring? And it wouldn't be daughter in a monogendered culture, would it? It's I don't know, it's just weird. Although I suppose coming up with a new word for child might have been hard. Or maybe we can just put this to, I don't know, universal translator. Maybe that, like she's clearly, if there's not some sort of background universal translator going on, maybe that's just the word she used in English. Why is English the most commonly used language? I mean, yes, okay, we're getting into video gamey stuff here, but I don't know. The word daughter is always just like, would you use that word?
What happens to your partner after the union?
Every relationship is different. Some unions are a single encounter with both parents parting ways afterwards. Others can be more long-term. Sometimes an Asari and her partner will stay together for many decades.
You Asari live for 1,000 years. What happens when your partner dies?
Few sapient species live as long as my kind. We have learned to take a philosophical approach to our unions. We do not focus on the inevitable loss of our partners. Instead, we enjoy the time we spend with them. And even after they're gone, a part of them lives on in us. The union is a connection that transcends both time and space.
Do you know who Matriarch Benezia chose as her partner?
She rarely spoke of her partner, though I know my father, if you want to use that term, was another Asari.
That's a stupid question, because how else would they have survived? Of course they could mate with each other. I'm not going to, I refuse to ask that question.
Benezia never told you her partner's name?
Union with our own kind is no longer common, not for the purposes of reproduction. Most Asari believe it weakens our species. Asari daughters inherit racial traits from the father species. If both parents are Asari, then nothing has been gained, or so conventional wisdom would hold. I am what is sometimes called a pureblood, though no Asari would ever be cruel enough to say the word to my face. It is a great insult among my people. It is possible Benezia's partner was embarrassed by their union. She may have been too ashamed to publicly acknowledge me as her offspring.
And apparently most Asari nowadays are dumb as heck, but you know, it's an interesting thing to think about, isn't it? Like, now that they've met other species, they've suddenly decided they don't want to reproduce amongst their own kind. It's weird, but one of those weird little things, I guess.
Maybe she wanted to meet you, but couldn't. Something could have happened to her. Maybe she passed away.
You might be right. I hope you are. But I have no way to know for sure. Benezia never spoke of her partner. Whatever happened, it caused her too much pain to dwell on it. She raised me by herself, though that is not uncommon. Many Asari raise their children alone, particularly if the father species is short-lived. Often the partner will pass on long before the child reaches maturity.
And I don't think we want to ask anything else. Those eyebrows of hers, by the way, are completely tattooed on. No, the Asari don't have eyebrows.
I should go.
Goodbye, Commander.
I didn't get that much XP from that. Yeah, I think if I try somewhat to stay away from personal stuff, at least if I leave it till later, then there's no way of accidentally romancing her. Some people are just real easy to accidentally romance. Like in Dragon Age, you can romance Liliana without even knowing about it until you suddenly get a cutscene regarding it. Oh no, or let's go talk to Tally. Potentially engineer. Let's talk to. Ooh, hello. Do you have anything interesting to say? I can't remember if we've already spoke to you.
Something I can do for you, Commander.
No, we've already spoke to you.
Carry on, Adams.
Aye, aye, Commander.
Oh, hello, Shepard.
Are you okay?
I don't know. Your ship is amazing, and your crew's been really great to me, especially your chief engineer. But I just sort of feel out of place. The Normandy runs so smooth it feels like we're not even moving, and the engines are so quiet. How do you sleep at night?
The silence wakes you up?
Back on the flotilla, the last thing you want to hear is silence. It means an engine's died or an air filter shut down. I guess you don't have to worry about that here. But old habits die hard. But it's more than just the silence. This ship feels so empty. It's like half the crew is missing. Back home, I couldn't wait to go on my pilgrimage. I couldn't wait to get away from the crowds. Now that I'm out here, I kind of miss them.
Oh, I mean, she is basically just. I mean, she's not quite a child, but like the pilgrimage is coming of age, so she's essentially a child on the cusp of adulthood.
Sometimes we don't appreciate what we have until it's gone.
That's true.
Massive age and maturity
I'm
difference.
starting to wonder if that's what the pilgrimage is really about. It's given me a whole new perspective on my people and our culture. You know, there's always a few who go on their pilgrimages and never return. I always assumed something bad happened to them. But maybe they just wanted a different life.
You do plan to return to the migrant fleet, right?
I could never abandon my people, Shepard. I will go back eventually. But we have to stop Saren first. Otherwise, I might not have a home to go back to.
You know what? I've literally just edited a bunch of videos and I still can't remember if I've actually asked any of these questions. And the off chance I have, I'm not going to ask them now. I can always go back and make a note of if I've actually asked. If I've missed anything, I'll certainly try and go through the old videos and find out. For now, I feel like I've already asked them.
I should go.
See you later.
Still got time to talk to her. Right, let's talk to Garrus. He'll have something to say, he always does.
Commander, how are you?
Why did you want to be a CSEC officer in the first place?
That's a good question. There were several reasons, I guess.
Like what?
Probably the same as most officers. I wanted to fight injustice, wanted to help people. I guess my father had something to do with it too. He was CSEC, one of the best. I grew up hearing about his accomplishments or seeing his picture on the vids after a big arrest. He's taking my resignation pretty hard.
That's tough, but you'd think he'd be impressed you're going after Saren.
My father's a CSEC man to the bone. Do things right or don't do them at all, he says. He thinks I'm being too rash, too impatient, he
He's worried I'll become just like Saren. He actually talked me out of becoming a Spectre when I was younger, for the same reasons.
You were asked to be a Spectre?
Well, I was targeted as a possible Spectre candidate, me and about 1,000 other Turian military recruits. I could have received special training, but my father didn't like it. He despises the Spectres. He hates the idea of someone having unlimited power with no accountability. He wouldn't like you, Commander. No offense.
I like what that line about 1,000 other Turian military recruits says about Turian society. That they clearly all have to do a part of, what do you call it? They clearly all have to do some service in the military. Like the actual term is it's not conscription. Is it? No, it's not conscription. God, I forget the word that I'm thinking of, where everybody has to do a term of service. Like I know, I'm pretty sure it's true of like a bunch of countries where you have to do a minimum term of service, whether it's 2 years or 2 years for some countries, 5, something like that. But it's an insight into Turian, the way Turian people think, and why they're so military minded is because they all have that sort of dedication. And clearly, a lot of them go into some sort of either probably Spectres or, like Garrus has, CSEC and other sort of similar professions, I guess.
I suppose I can understand his concern.
You can, but Saren's not going to play by our rules, CSEC's rules. If you want to nail Saren, you need to send someone who isn't restricted by policies and procedures.
Just because you can break the rules doesn't mean you should. I don't need to stoop to Saren's level to stop him. And neither do you, Garrus.
I see what you mean, but I'll think about it. Thanks, Commander.
Okay, nice conversation, and let's talk to Rex.
So, we've got Saren on the run.
It won't be long now. Saren's good, but I'm better.
Good. He's rotten. To the core. I could tell as soon as I met him.
Why didn't you tell me this sooner?
I would have if I thought it was important.
I think I'd like to hear about it just the same.
This was a while ago. A bunch of mercs were bragging about a job out near the edges of the Terminus systems. They said it paid well and the boss was never around to ride them. They said he was looking for more men, too. So I checked it out.
I didn't know Saren was openly recruiting mercs.
It wasn't that open, and he only showed his face once. We'd been raiding ships in the area for months when we took out this massive cargo freighter. Our biggest haul yet. I was on board checking bodies for valuables, looking for some extra credits. That's when I saw him.
What did Saren want with the ship?
I don't know what he wanted. He was just moving through the ship, watching. A couple of the mercs called him by name, but he never spoke to them. Never spoke to anyone. I had a really bad feeling about him, so I got the hell out. Didn't even wait to get paid.
What kind of cargo was the freighter carrying? What was Saren after?
I don't know. All I saw on that ship was food and medical supplies. There were some basic weapons, but nothing big. If there was anything of value on that ship, I didn't see it. That's why I didn't mention it sooner.
Whose ship was it?
It was a Volus trading vessel. Big one. Lots of guards. But they were no match for us.
I mean, Rex, you're admitting to, like, a proper crime here. That's definitely a crime. Like, piracy and murder, sure. But okay, we'll let that slide, I guess. Too late to do anything about it now, I suppose.
That's the only time you saw him?
Yeah. Didn't even know who he was. Still wouldn't if I hadn't joined up with you. But my instincts were right. Every other merc on that mission turned up dead within a week. Every damn one.
Don't need to ask those questions. I know we've already asked these ones. Which is why I suspect we've already asked Tally hers.
So long, Rex.
Shepard,
Okay, since I'm down here, I'm going to go through everybody's equipment, especially Liara, because she hasn't got any decent equipment. I'll edit that out. Okay, everybody has been equipped to some degree or another. Cleared out my inventory. What shall we do now? I mean, I've talked to everybody. Should we head back? Should we just head back to the Citadel? We've got a couple of people to talk to at the Citadel, so we could, like, make our way over there. So zoom out. Done all of Artemis Tau. We're not going to do that anytime soon. I mean, are any of these, like, real quick? How big are these? How big are these areas? Right, Hades, Gamma is... No, there's a bunch of stuff in that. Gemini, Sigma... Oh, it's only got 2... Well, no, that probably still have to spend a bit of time on this one. Yeah, no, we'll just head back to the Citadel. I've got my little notepad with all my systems listed so I can keep track of where I've been. So I'll just tell straight away, like, how many areas, how many bits are in each area, but yeah, we'll use that. But it's just to keep track of where I've been, because this map doesn't have a percentage completed, which is... I don't understand why they couldn't have just added that in for this game. Like, such a simple quality of life thing. And that way, you could also keep track of when you've done something that, like, only unlocks later in the game. You know, then suddenly go from, like, 100% to less than 100%. You'd be like, oh, I've got to go back there. So, quality of life thing, and they completely missed the ball on putting that into this game. I mean, they changed the exit and the zoom out buttons to properly resemble what it is in later games, because, you know, zoom out used to be X and exit used to be B, and obviously they swapped that in the other two games. So they swapped that for this game, but they didn't swap anything else. I tell you what, we've got at least one conversation coming with what's his name, Rear Admiral Mikhailovich. I think we'll very quickly go and do that. Now, yeah, I think we'll do that. Maybe, or is that a good ending place for this game? For this, we've talked to everybody. We're now on the Citadel. We're going to do the Citadel next. Maybe we could just leave it like that, you know. No, I've leveled everybody's gear up. I've had a chat with everybody. No, maybe that is a good place to end it. I think... Yeah, there we go, that's 7. It's not a decent shot at all, actually, but you know what, we'll leave it there. I think we're going to call it early on that one. Yes, okay, it's a shorter interlude, but, I mean, it's basically just chatting to people, and next time, I guess we'll go quickly around the Citadel and do a few things. I think we've got, like, a couple of missions to hand then. Oh, I know what. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna do the Citadel next time. Don't know who I'm gonna take. I've got an idea of who to take. Try and get some very specific armor, because, like, for Tali, she's the hardest person to get armor for because it just doesn't spawn that often. Compared to Tyrion or Krogan armor. Yeah, she's the hardest one to actually get decent armor to spawn for. So I think we might go quickly around the shops and try and get those. Again, there's that conversation with Rear Admiral Mikhailovich. We've got that conversation with Al-Jalani. I'm not going to punch her. She genuinely doesn't deserve it, I think, in this game. Maybe in the second one where she's a bit more aggressive, but in this one it's just like, you don't really deserve a punch. I mean, it's good for comedy value, but we're not going to do that. What else we got? So yeah, we've got to go see Kahoku. Is there anything else we can actually hand in? Pretty much. Oh no, and talk to Nisana Dantius about her slaver sister, and get something out of her. And there's a few other things we can unlock on the Citadel at that time as well. So we'll go ahead and do all of that. So As always, I hope you guys have enjoyed watching as much as I've enjoyed playing, as ever, and I'll see you next time for more adventures with Mark Shepard, shopping on the Citadel. Thanks for watching. Ta-ta for now.